Hello, my name is Valerie Harteg, and I am the Education Program Manager at Highest Pennsylvania. I'm here today to talk to you about schools in Philadelphia and how you can enroll your child in school. It's really important to know that you, as parents of children in the United States, have specific rights. Most of your children are going to be considered English learners, or students who are still learning English and speak another language as their first language. It's very important to know that your child as an English learner has the same rights as other students to a free and public school education. So unless you choose to enroll your child in a private school, your child will be able to attend school for free. In the United States, students go to different types of schools. There are a couple of basic types that I want to mention to you today. There are district schools and charter schools. These schools are both public and they are free. District schools are the schools that we will talk about in just a minute. Charter schools require you to send in an application, and there is no guarantee that your child will be enrolled, as it's based on a lottery system. So your child's application is chosen out of all of the applications that are submitted. School district schools, however, are required to accept your child's application based on where you live. We'll talk more about district schools in a minute. Private schools are not public and they're not free. They require you to pay and to apply separately. Homeschooling is also an option for most children, but today, again, we're going to focus mostly on school district schools that are free and open to the public. It's also important to know that within a school district like the Philadelphia School District, there are different types of schools. The schools have different grades. First, you'll be familiar with elementary school, which usually includes kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. Most of these students are about age 5 to age 10. Some elementary schools also include 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Some schools are separated into elementary and middle schools. So again, an elementary school might have kindergarten through 5th grade, and those students might then go to a middle school. There are middle schools in Philadelphia that include grades 6, 7, and 8. After middle school, students go to high school. And high school in the United States includes grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. And most of these students are ages 14 to 18. But it's also really important to know that students can go to high school up until age 21 in Pennsylvania. So if your child is 18 or 19 and did not finish school prior to coming to the United States, they did not graduate from high school, they would be eligible to enroll in high school in Philadelphia and be able to stay until they are 21. The grade in which students are placed depends on their age. It depends on their date of birth. So for a student who is in grade kindergarten up until 8th grade, the application will ask for their date of birth, and that date of birth will determine the grade that they are placed in, not the grade that they last finished in the country they were in before coming to the United States. If they are high school age students, however, students are generally placed in grade 9 if they do not have any school records from their high school. If they do have school records from their high school in the country they were in before coming to the United States, they can submit those school records for evaluation. And the goal is for the school district to review and then approve, hopefully, those credits so that they can start in the grade that would come after the grade that they last finished. Again, they need to have school records to do this. For students who are Ukrainian, they may be able to self-report their grades from high school in Ukraine, even if they do not have any school records with them or cannot access any school records. Please talk to your child's school about this. It's also important to note that students are placed in school district schools by their zip code, by their home address. I will show you in a little bit how to find out what your child's school is based on your home address. But it's important to know that this is why your child might be placed at one school and another family that you know their child might be at a different school, because your home addresses are different and the areas that those schools are in are different based on zip code. The goal for most elementary students is that they can walk to school. So the goal is that by placing students by zip code, younger students are able to walk to school. Students who are older in middle school and high school will often have to take some mode of transportation, maybe public transportation, or if there is a family member who drives or a friend who drives, there might be a short drive to school. If a student lives more than a mile from the school, and this is specific to newly arrived Ukrainian students, they're eligible for a transportation pass paid for by the school district. That is something to ask your child's school about if you live more than 1 mile from the middle school or the high school. All students must wear uniforms in most Philadelphia school district schools. Again, this policy differs from school to school, so it's important to check with your child's school, but you can expect that your child will need to wear a uniform and won't be wearing their own clothing to school. The colors are different at each school too. If you have questions about your child's uniform, or you would like some help getting a uniform for your child for their first year at school, you may ask your child's school and share with them that you are originally from Ukraine and you are a new family who has just arrived. They will be able to help you. So, a quick true and false. I'll read each one of these and give you a second to decide if it's true or false, and then I'll give you the answer. Number 1, true or false? Students are placed in a grade depending on their date of birth. This is true. For students who are in grades K to 8, they will be placed in their grade by their age, by their date of birth. Number 2, students get to pick their uniform colors. This is false. The schools decide on the uniform colors, and students must wear those uniform colors to school. Number 3, students are placed in schools depending on their zip code. This is true. Students are placed in schools depending on their home address. And again, I'll show you in a minute how you can use your home address to research which school your child will be placed in. Number 4, students graduate from high school after they pass 12th grade. This is true. After students pass grade 12 in high school, they receive a high school diploma. And that is something that they can use if they are looking for a job. They can also use it when they are applying to college. It doesn't matter if they did not complete all 4 years of high school in the United States. Let's say, for example, they completed 3 years of high school in Ukraine and are now finishing 12th grade in the United States. That's okay. They will receive a high school diploma from their high school here in Philadelphia, and it will be valid. Great job. I also want to share some information about ESOL classes. So it is your right for your child's school to teach your child how to read, write, speak, and understand English. Students receive what are called ESOL services, services for those who are English speakers of other languages. So your child might come home and talk about their ESOL teacher or going to ESOL classes. These are the classes specifically for them as English learners, where they are specifically focusing on English. It's also important to know that sometimes you might hear school staff refer to your child as an L, an EL, or an English learner. Again, that is a designation that they receive because their first language is a language other than English. Children who are English learners take a test when they start school, and then they also take that test every year after that to assess how they are progressing with their English, where their English language level is at. This test is called the access test. So again, after your child is enrolled in school, when they start school, a teacher will give them a test where they will have to do some speaking and some reading, some writing, and some listening, and that will help determine what their English level is. And that will help determine how much help they need with their English in school. It's also very important for you to know that schools are required to communicate with you in a language that you understand, in your preferred language. This is your right. You should find out if your school has a bilingual counseling assistant or a BCA who speaks your preferred language. There are BCAs at a lot of the district schools, though they are assigned to different schools throughout the week. Again, this is a good question to ask at your child's school if there is a BCA who speaks your preferred language. BCAs are very specific to Philadelphia district schools. So if your child goes to a school outside the Philadelphia school district, they might not know what a BCA is. However, it is still their obligation to provide interpretation. All Philadelphia school district staff have access to telephonic interpretation. So if you call the school and you have a question, or you have a meeting with your child's teacher, and there is nobody on staff who can speak, for example, Ukrainian, and you would like to have Ukrainian interpretation, you can still ask for a Ukrainian interpreter, and they can call an interpreter on the phone, and the interpreter will help in that meeting. Please do not hesitate to ask for an interpreter. This is very important. It's also your right, and it is the school's obligation to do this. So if you wanted to ask for interpretation, what would you say? I'm going to give you an example of what you can say in English. So when you go to your child's school, you should be ready to introduce yourself. A really important piece of information is to be ready to say your child's name so that the school can identify who you are. If you need an interpreter, you can say to the school staff, I am the parent of your child's name. I need an interpreter. I speak Ukrainian, for example. The school must then provide an interpreter in person or over the phone if they don't have someone in person for you. Again, this is a requirement. I also just want to remind you that attendance is very important. Children are expected to attend school every day and to be on time. You will learn about your child, the time that they have to be at school. Every school is a little bit different. So it's important to ask your child's school what time they need to be there in the morning and what time they dismiss at the end of the day. Under Pennsylvania law, all students between the ages of 6 and 18 must attend school every day. If your child misses school, it's very important that you as the parent or a family member, a guardian, writes a note explaining why the student was absent. Students will be expected to make up the work that they missed. When you write a note for your child can take that note to the school office the next day when they go back. It's very important to know, however, that if, for example, your child is very sick and they miss school for more than 3 days in a row, you have to have a note from the doctor to give to the school. The school keeps track of absences, and there are consequences if your child continues to be absent with no excuse. So it's very important to send a note. Here's an example of the information you can include in a note. So it's very important and you can write this by hand, that's no problem. It's really important to include the date that you are writing the note, your child's name, the grade that your child is in, maybe their room number if you know that. How many days were they absent? Were they absent for 1 day, for 2 days? Then you want to list the dates that they were absent, and then you can write why. And you can simply say something like, for example, my child was sick and stayed home. That's fine. And then you can sign at the bottom. Again, if your child is absent for more than 3 days, you will need to send a doctor's note. This is not a note that you can write. You need to get a note from the doctor. And most doctors are used to doing this. They are used to writing notes for school. So you can just ask. It's no problem. So let's go ahead and look at how to enroll your child in school in the Philadelphia School District. Again, this is specific to the School District of Philadelphia. There are two options. One option is to do the application online. The second option is to do it in person. So let's talk about the online application first, if that is something you are comfortable with. To do the application online, you go to this link. We're going to look at it together now. Scroll down to the blue box here, the dark blue box that says student registration. You can click on it. When you go to this page, you can decide if there is another language other than English that you would like to do the application in. Click on Start New Registration and click Next. You are registering your child for the 2022-2023 school year if you're registering them for this year. And then you will start entering information on the first page. You enter your information first as the parent or the legal guardian if you're not the child's parent, your date of birth, and your email address. This is very important because this will be the email address that the confirmation of the application and other information about the application is sent to. So make sure that your email address is correct. Once you complete this information, you'll click on Begin Registration and it will take you to the registration form. The application is lengthy, it is long, so be patient, take your time, and just know that there are many, many pages to the application with a lot of questions. On this page, you will also see information about what documents you will need to provide. At the end of the online application, there is a section for you to upload pictures or copies of specific documents. You will need proof of the child's age. So this could be something like the original birth certificate if you have it, or any of these other options. If you don't have any of these, but you do have something else like a specific immigration document, that will probably be okay as long as it has the child's date of birth. You can upload that. And the platform is secure, so you don't have to worry about security issues with uploading these documents. If you have your child's immunizations, you should also upload them. Because your child is a newly arrived student from another country, you may be able to wait 30 days to submit them, but it is really important that your child gets the required immunizations, or if you are looking to waive and get an exemption, you'll have to provide proper documentation. The school will probably not approve your child's application until you have communicated about the immunization. So either submit the immunization record, or if you have a question about it, you can go to your child's school and talk to them about that. The other important piece is proof of address. Any of these proofs of addresses will work, and the application requires 2. If you only have one of these, upload the information that you have. Then you will need to go to your child's school because they will not consider your application complete until you go and talk to them and explain that you are new to the country and that you only have maybe one proof of address. Again, that communication is very important because if the school is looking at the online application and only has one proof of residency or no proof of residency and no other explanation for why, they may reject the application. So make sure that you communicate with your child's school after you submit the online application. My recommendation is to also contact the school once you submit the application. Maybe wait 1 or 2 days and then call the school office, call the secretary to confirm that they have received your child's application and that it's not missing anything. This is really important. And remember, when you call, you can ask for an interpreter and they will be required to call you with an interpreter. You can also go to your child's school office in person if you feel more comfortable. The other option is to go to your child's school directly to enroll your child in person, so not doing it online, and that's okay too. First, you'll need to find out what school your child will attend. Again, for Philadelphia School District schools, this goes by zip code, by your home address. So here, all right. So let's pick an address here and do an example together. I'm going to enter an address here and we will see. Okay. So this website tells us the elementary school, and if there is a middle school, in this case, it's just a kindergarten to 8th grade school, and the high school. So we can see that the elementary and middle school, grades K to 8, are at Spruance, Gilbert. This actually means Gilbert Spruance is the name of the school. A lot of schools in Philadelphia are names of specific people. So if it seems a little bit strange to you, that's okay. They are the names of people. You'll notice that a lot with elementary schools. The high school here is Northeast High School. Once you know this, you can take the name of the school plus Philadelphia and Google it. And probably something like this will come up. So over here, I can see the school address so that I know it, and I can also see the school phone number. Once you have this information, you can contact the school secretary. You can call them to ask if you can make an appointment to enroll your child in school. Or again, if you feel more comfortable not talking over the phone and just going to your child's school, you can do that too. School secretaries return to the offices on Monday, August 8th. So anytime after Monday, August 8th, you can call between the hours of 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. and speak to the school secretary. Again, remember to ask for an interpreter. If you have problems with the application online, or if you're having difficulty getting an appointment to enroll your child in school in person at their school, this is a phone number that you can call. This phone number will get you to the Multilingual Assessment Center at the Philadelphia School District, and they will be able to assist. Again, remember to ask for an interpreter. Remember to share what language you speak and to say, I need an interpreter. The last piece of information I want to share with you is information about the preschool application for 3- and 4-year-old children in Philadelphia. There are a couple of options. Again, there is an online application option. The online application, unfortunately, is only available in English. You have to create a username and password on this page to create an account. Once you have an account, you will be able to do the online application. You can also download a paper application, and I will show you the paper application in a minute and where you can find the application translated into Ukrainian. Once you fill it out by hand on paper, you can email a copy, even take pictures of it, even though it is many pages. You can email a copy to this email address. This is the address for Deborah Hartranft, and she works in the Early Childhood Education Office at the school district. Or you can mail the application to this address at 440 North Broad Street, Suite 170, Philadelphia, PA 19130. You can also go to that office and drop off the paper application. This office is located in Center City, Philadelphia, and these are the hours. So there are many options if you would like to do a paper application. Beginning the last week of August, you can go directly to pre-K neighborhood schools and apply in person there. So if there is a preschool in your area that is part of a school district school, you can go there to the offices in person and apply as well. I'm going to show you what the application looks like that is translated into Ukrainian. Okay, so here is the application for this school year. As you can see, it is several pages long, and it takes some time. The first couple of pages have lists of locations. First, you are looking at school district schools that have preschools within those schools. So these are names of elementary schools, some high schools even, and that's because within those schools, they have separate preschools. If your child is 3 or 4 years old, they would be eligible for preschool. It also has a list of partner sites. So these are other schools that are not inside district schools that also work with families. When I am looking for a preschool for a child, I usually look at these numbers here. These are the zip codes. And I try to find schools that are in that family's zip code so that we can look at schools that are close to the family's home. That's a good way to look at schools and find your top choices for preschools. Then the application moves into specific information. They will ask a lot of questions about your child's background, their educational needs, their personal needs, medical questions, and gather other information, and they will ask for signatures as well. They will also ask for vaccination records, just like in the K-12 application. So it's very important to be very thorough with this application. I hope this information is helpful, and I wish you the best of luck. Remember to call that phone number at the Philadelphia School District if you have problems or questions with your child's school enrollment application. Thank you.